morning, friends. How's everybody doing? 10-ish, as usual. You know, down with the ishness. You already know the drill. It's just kind of how it is. So we'll get started here. People probably start filtering in more. I know it's like holiday week, Christmas stuff all happening. And grateful that you decided to drop in with us today. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, so just a few things as we get started today, a few announcements and such, but I don't know if you guys have been getting in all the holiday festivities and things, but I don't know, are you people Christmas music folks? Anybody in here? Okay, sweet, 2 of you guys, that's cool. Yeah, we started Christmas music at Halloween, so, you know, hold us in high energy, high vibes, and prayers. You know, I'm over it. We got our tree so early, it's already dying. That's kind of how our family rolls, and by our family, I mean my spouse. But I'm good with it. It's fun. We were baking a bunch of cookies yesterday, and by we, I mean, again, Lindsay was baking a bunch of cookies yesterday, and I think I'm outgrowing my shirts by now, and you know that's at Christmas whenever you have to get higher, you know, bigger shirts at Christmas time because of all the stuff that you've eaten. That's been my life. But a few other things that we have going on here, without my bad jokes, is we have Betsy, actually. I should have said that first. Betsy, Happy Kids Movement is her organization, and she partners with us to be with kids ages 6 and up. So if you have kids and you're like, I didn't bring them today because I wasn't sure what the deal was, we do most of the time have that available. Betsy drops in with the kids, and where they are is she's not taking them to some random alley behind Smart and Final. There's a big building, the auditorium, not this one, but the next one. And so if you did check in your kids with Betsy, be sure to retrieve them after the service. We won't hold them for very long, so then we'll turn them into City of Carlsbad. Just kidding. All right, bad dad jokes. We're rolling right along. We're having a good time. Christmas Eve service is happening this Tuesday. So we have today service, and then 2 days from now, Christmas Eve, 6 o'clock. We're going to be meeting here, and it's going to be awesome. Like last year was so great, and if you saw the photo from last year, we got Max, who was modeling for us in that picture. He didn't know it, but he was. You looked great in that photo, dude. And we have a candlelight. We set this place up all with candlelights. It's super vibe, and it's a lot of fun. So if you want to come and get some like cultural nostalgia of singing Christmas carols, we've selected the ones that, you know, we feel comfortable with singing. I don't know if you've like listened to the lyrics of Christmas songs sometimes, but you're like, oh God dang, dude, like, man, it's like a systematic theology textbook that you're like singing. It's crazy. But nonetheless, we'll be here singing Christmas carols. We've been practicing. Mary and Lindsay and myself, I'll be playing guitar. I will not be singing, at least loudly. I won't punish you. Mary and Lindsay have an incredible voice together. We'll sing some songs, and it's going to be a wonderful time. And then afterwards, wassail, a traditional Christmas drink. Mary will be bringing and we'll be drinking together. It's not spiked, and it's not Kool-Aid. I know there's a lot of rumors about this place, but it's not Kool-Aid. Just saying. We'll save that for the retreat in February. Anyways, I'll digress. Wassail, it's going to be a great time. We have some folks whipping up some sweet treats. It's going to be great. If you want to come early, we have all these like little handheld candles for everybody at the end. We're going to sing Silent Night together. Hopefully it didn't, you know, by that statement, you're like not coming now. But we have all these like, little handheld candles. So if you want to come early and help kind of put the little things so you don't get hot wax dropping on your hand, you know, and kind of help get some of those together, maybe drop in early around 5:30 and we'll get some of those set up. So would love your help for that. Speaking of the retreat, at the end of February, we meet on the 1st and 3rd Sundays of the month. And on the 4th weekend of February, what's up, Sika? We're having a retreat in San Marcos. There's a place called Quest Haven, and I know all of you locals are thinking, why would you go spend the night there? And for those of you that don't know, apparently it was haunted and whatever, but and we're like, yeah, that's why we're going. But we're having that at Quest Haven. We've been doing a lot of things with them lately, and it's just been a lot of fun. They have a really beautiful space. They have like 600 acres in San Marcos. Like, how do you get that? Well, you buy it in the 40s. That's how you get it. So they're a Christian mystic community from the 40s that's still hanging on, and I think that's super rad, and we've been connecting with them. It's a lot of fun. We're going to have some info for you coming up about that, hopefully at the Christmas Eve service, if not January 4th. We're trying to make it as cost-effective as possible, but there is cost for the retreat, and there's limited availability on like housing there for staying there, but it's super clean. It's nice. We're going to have all the meals will be provided. And all your dietary restrictions, we have a great connection for taking all that into consideration. So we're also going to have a meeting for that. For those of you that came to the last retreat, facilitator meeting after the one that we had about a month ago, we were going to do that again today, but with the holidays and there's a lot of people out of town and traveling and whatever, January 4th, we're going to do that and have another drop-in over here after the service. So retreat coming up. Just mark your calendar for it. End of February. It's going to be a great time. And I think that's enough info for today. But maybe some of you are here for the first time, and you're kind of wondering a little bit of who we are and what we do. Maybe you found us on Instagram, and you just decided to take the risk and drop in at this kind of funky, far-out place. Like, what is it? We're still learning, too. And some of my background is, pastor's kid, was in ministry, left all of that world for a long time, seeking and searching in other traditions, and ultimately, as it goes, you end up finding yourself wherever you think you're trying to find yourself, and you're like, oh, everything that I've been a part of and been doing, it's all leading me back to the source. It's all leading me back to refinement of who God is in me the whole time. And so found myself kind of reintegrating some of my tradition that I grew up in after going through a more Eastern philosophy route. And so I'm like, man, we need a space where we can be like expressing this kind of take. And so we're kind of a hybrid between a church and maybe some spiritual communities or circles that you might have been a part of, and trying to create this hybrid space to offer the wisdom of Christ, not as in competition with the world religions. I grew up where it was like, we're on the right team and everybody else sucks and they're going to burn in hell forever, and somehow we're supposed to all be happy about that every Sunday. But rather, the wisdom of Christ continued to percolate in my life, and ironically enough, through reading gurus, Hindu gurus, I found Christ in a very profound and interesting and cool way. And so we seek to present this as a contributing voice to God expressing God's self in the world. And that this is a valid path, a valid tradition, in many ways has been presented in some unique ways, we'll say the least. But hoping to reclaim this wisdom and way, capital W way, of living as a whole integrated being in union with God and being an expression of goodness in the world for healing and wholeness. And so that's our focus here. We want to recalibrate around this fresh way of experience of God, but not limited to it. So hopefully that resonates with you in some way before you came, but we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we exist solely on offerings and donations from people who believe in us and what we do, of making a different environment that embraces. Can I speak this morning? Jesus Christ. Hey. He's listening. You're up there somewhere here now in my heart. All right, I'll digress. Hopefully creating a new, fresh environment for us to be able to express this tradition. So, with that, I want to invite us to light our candles. Lindsay, do you mind to light our candles for us this morning? And we light these candles in a symbolic way of posturing our heart towards the light. And we'll be speaking more about light today in just a few minutes. But my invitation is to you this morning, no matter where you've found yourself coming from, or no matter where you tracked or didn't track with my word salad I just offered to you, my hope is that you will feel into your heart, into this space, the invitation to come out of the mind and feel the presence of God this morning. Beyond what we think, beyond our concepts, our ideas about what is and isn't true, that we would feel truth this morning. That we would feel this presence together. And so invite you to posture your heart in a place of surrender. And if you feel comfortable to close your eyes, you can do so as we raise the light above us. And as we raise the light above, we welcome your presence, God. We ask for your wisdom, the divine mind, to illuminate us, to bring rest and peace, to bring ease. Maybe some of us are coming from a busy schedule. We're all trying to rush and get this Christmas season happening. And for this just brief moment in time, for this 1 hour of time, I invite you to pause everything that's happening in life. The things that you're feeling that are keeping you up at night, maybe the relational tension that you're experiencing, maybe certain degrees of insecurity, maybe the sense of even uncomfortability with sitting in this room right now. I invite you to feel at the center of your chest this sense of love, peace, joy. And we set our mind above where Christ is seated to receive divine vantage point. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for your presence in this space. Help us to be open. Help us to be aware. And in this time of meditation, we offer our attention and our intention to your presence here within us.
So keeping your eyes in a soft, gentle gaze forward, or keeping them closed, whatever feels most comfortable for you. We'll just remain in this deepened space that Luke invited us into just a few moments ago. We'll take a couple inhales together, breathing in and letting it go. And just noticing where maybe there might be some restriction or tension, some rigidness in your breath. And on these next few inhales, just seeing if you can expand those spaces that feel the most tight. Breathing in and letting it go. Just fully becoming a witness of your own experience. Without any force, without any judgment. Just witnessing. And on this next inhale together, we'll hold it at the top for just a few seconds. Again, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And we'll let it out with an exhale that's just a little bit longer than the inhale. Just signaling to your nervous system and your body that you are safe. So breathing in, holding at the top. And letting it go, extending that exhale slowly. Feeling your body soften. Inhaling, filling the belly, the chest, holding at the top. Just being in that stillness, letting it go slowly and easily. As we slow down, as we soften our body, it just creates even more space for God's presence to be received. If it feels good for you to continue that breath pattern, breathing in and holding at the top and slowly exhaling, please feel free to do so. Or you can just find a normal breath pattern. Just allowing this space to be a moment for you to notice, become aware of what's present for you within your mind, the mental chatter, perhaps even the chaos of the season, the worry, the doubts. Even becoming aware of the things that were not in your awareness before. Within that subtle awareness, it just gives those parts of you permission to exist. Releasing the resistance. Making more way for love to be here. This awareness, I invite you into the space within your heart. Maybe noticing the physical sensations you hold there in your chest. And with this loving presence, this loving awareness, seeing if with your breath you can just soften that space. Sometimes we hold the resistance without even consciously being aware of it. And while noticing what is there in existence already, we just invite that love and that peace and that presence of God into our hearts. heart space. Letting it go. Just ask the Holy Spirit to help soften the walls around our hearts. And deepen into a space of safety around opening our heart again. Reminding us of what truly has always mattered the most. Which is love. Slowly becoming aware of your body once again, reorienting to where you are in space and time, feeling the chair beneath you, your feet resting upon the ground. Maybe holding a hand to your heart for just a few moments, just fully connecting to that part of you. Softening into a deeper breath. And in your own time, when you feel fully ready, you can begin to flutter your eyes open, softly and gently, coming back into full, wakeful awareness and presence.
Thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, it's always such an interesting transition for me sometimes. It always hits, and sometimes it really does, more so than others. And then you're like, gotta say something at some point. Sometimes I feel like I'm not alone in this, but you're moving so fast you forget to feel anything. And that's been this past little bit for me. It's like there's so many things happening, so much activity happening that sometimes you forget to actually be aware through it. And I think that's obviously much of the practice is remembering. The other day in meditation, I was like, the only thing that came up was to remember. And I feel like much of life is just remember, because I forget. That's what the light is here to do, is to help you to remember. In this world of darkness, if you come from a Christian background, you hear this word darkness and you immediately start thinking of like some sort of spiritual warfare and demons and Satan and all sorts of, black metal music videos and whatever else, which are great. But it's not necessarily darkness, necessarily. We could drop in on this in a deep dive somewhere else, but most of the time the darkness is just like, when you get up to go to the bathroom in the night and you kind of run into things and then you're kind of like cussing at, the wrapping paper. Not like that happened last night. You're like, it's just, if there was some light here, I wouldn't have ran into that, and if you're not aware of that light, you just kind of bump into life over and over and over. When you're going so fast, those bumps get harder and harder and you're like, it hurts more and more, so slowing down enough, having the light enough to be able to see is extremely helpful. Especially like last night, I was joking with Chad. It was a 2P night, and he's like, 2P night? Well, yeah, I had to get up twice. I'm in my backside of my 30s here. That happens a lot more, getting up twice, and every time it's like, yes, it's exciting to go back to sleep, but it's also like, man, I only have an hour left. Come on, it sucks. And all the elder millennials and Xers and everybody else said amen. Gen Z, you'll get there. Don't worry. I thought I was invincible too. But this darkness, it's sometimes difficult to navigate through this. And the whole point of spiritual practice is so that we can see with more clarity in life, symbolically, metaphorically, in our own inner world, and yielding, slowing to the presence of divinity that's inviting us through life if we can allow it, if we have ears to hear it. And so today I just wanted to talk a little bit about light and things of that nature, as we're in the Christmas season here and talking about the light that came into the world that we're celebrating. But I wanted to start with just a couple things here. And just thank you again. Like, I feel like I've had walls around my heart. I'm like, sometimes during these sound healings at the beginning, and I'm like busy and I'm at the storage unit and I'm bringing the stuff over and I'm doing all the things, and then I'm like trying to make bad jokes, and then I find myself in that meditation space and I'm like, man, I feel myself starting to speak in tongues again. I'm like, I'm a charismatic kid. Gosh darn it. It's crazy. So it's just wild. But I wanted to share with you a couple things. I don't always bring big old ancient documents, but I did today. But this is a special one, and I wanted to share it with you because after at the end of last week's service, I shared with you a passage from the Gospel of Thomas. And are we getting? Oh no, I thought it was someone else. Yes, we'll take it. Sorry. Should I tell him where the office is? So I shared with you a passage from the Gospel of Thomas, and the Gospel of Thomas is just we'll have a couple nerdy things here today. At the Christmas Eve service, it's strictly stories, I promise. No YouTube rabbit trails. But for today, Gospel of Thomas is something that was discovered. Well, it had been something that had been in circulation, and we found fragments of it, but we found a full copy of it in 1945, Nag Hammadi, Egypt. This whole collection of ancient writings and documents were found. Gospel of Thomas was among one of those, and we had finally a Coptic version of seeing this document pretty much in its entirety. And it's taken a long time for it to gain some acceptance, because a lot of the things are a lot of the main stuff that matches the narrative and life of Jesus are there, but it's not in a narrative format. It's 114 sayings. It reads a lot more like the Tao Te Ching than it does a New Testament gospel. And it's just these sayings of Jesus in conversation with his devotees, his disciples. And it's just these wisdom sayings. And at the beginning, it doesn't have some grand narrative about a virgin birth or anything in, Bethlehem or Nazareth, or no long genealogies like the other two Gospels have in Luke and Matthew. It's just more about, if you take these things to your heart and you apply them, essentially, you will begin to realize this light that is within you. And it's an incredible document, and I think it's so profound that finally some scholars, critical scholars, and among others, got together and they created a document from a lot of the writings that we have called a New Testament. If you're not familiar with this, it's really great. It includes the Gospel of Thomas in it. It has a lot of old prayers and hymns of the first century that were found, that were put in here, odes of Solomon, and different really cool things. Other if you're familiar with the canonical Bible, you have the book of Acts of the Apostles. Well, that wasn't the only book of Acts. There was also other Acts of Paul and Thecla, if I believe is her name correctly. But basically this woman who became a devotee of Paul and broke this marriage that this person that she was betrothed to, and was a disciple of Paul, and followed around as an ascetic with him. And it's why didn't we put that in there? Oh yeah, because women are involved. We can't have that with the empire. I digress. So there's a lot of cool old ancient writings in here, and the foreword is incredible. I love how they make the nuance of a New Testament. It's not the New Testament, It's just if you don't understand what was happening in the first century, and if you don't understand that there were writings that were picked and there are writings that weren't picked to be in our Bible, you don't have a full view of really what is trying to be communicated. So it's a really great document, and it includes the Gospel of Thomas. And so we drop in today. I wanted to read to you from this, and you even got Marcus Borg here on the front for those of you real theology nerds, so he's cool. I wanted to read to you again that passage from the Gospel of Thomas this morning, because I feel like it's so good. And we read the version from my friend Toto Tay last time, and it's an awesome version, but wanted to read to you the original here this morning. Jesus, or his followers rather, the disciples said, "Show us the place where you are, because it is necessary that we seek it." And he said to them, "Whoever has ears to hear, hear." Essentially, for those who are tuned in, listen. There is light within a person of light, and that one lights up the entire world. If that one does not shine, there is darkness. And the emphasis, again, that we're sort of bumping through life, and we have a choice in life to align with the light, to be able to see with clarity. Because if we don't shine, we're just going to bump into things. And this idea of light in the Gospel of Thomas mirrors this Gospel of John sort of thing. So I'll read that to you here in just a second. But the Gospel of John, again, we're kind of getting a little nerdy today, dude. Trust me, for those of you that have been around for almost a couple years now, you get it. But just want to bring some context around here, and here's why. At Christmas time, we tend to have this heightened elevation of this story, where we're driving by, looking at Christmas lights with our family, and we see the nativity scene, and we see some, little white Jesus, a white Mary and Joseph, who are kind of having the plastic fade from them from being in storage the rest of the year kind of vibe. And we have this sort of story baked into our culture this time of year, of this little baby Jesus born in Bethlehem, and then you got the three wise men who come and see him and bring him gifts and things. And the reason that I bring up some of these other things in the Gospel of Thomas, and we'll read in the Gospel of John that doesn't have the story also, is because a lot of the time we get sort of sucked into that narrative. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that narrative. It's funny, we were having dinner last week, and we were talking to the kids about Christmas, and we're like, what's Christmas all about? Asking the kids. And they start talking about all sorts of stuff, It's like presents, but then like the tree, and then they started to get a little bit more sentimental, and they're like, it's about spending time together, It's about being on break, and like not having to go to school and all this stuff, and they slowly got more and more heartfelt about it. But then it dawned on me, I'm like, dude, like they're not mentioning anything about like Jesus at all. And after like 5 or 10 minutes, my daughter Sophia, she's 11, she's like, oh yeah, Jesus is a big deal around this time of the year too, And I'm like, I think we're parenting right. Like I think that's the vibe that I'm getting here. I don't know. Like maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But they kind of got around to that, and I love her little nuance. I'm like, I don't know how well this is for me as a parent with her. She's like, yeah, they say that this is the time of year that Jesus was born, but sometimes we don't know that for sure. But this is at least the time that we like to celebrate that. I'm like, fair enough. Where's your book? Write it up. I'll be there. So like, we have this idea of this person being born into the world who is a special person. Someone's born of a virgin. Someone who is a direct DNA of the Holy Spirit who overshadowed this girl to give virgin birth to the Son of God. And I think there's a lot of beautiful symbolism there, and there's a lot of great things that we could dive in about that. But the problem with that is that we tend to get stuck on just that instance of that. And it becomes this sort of special thing. As Alan Watts once said, yeah, he was the boss's son, and you're never going to be the boss's son. So what does that mean for you? But the thing is, this special incarnation that came to happen wasn't so that we would all become idol worshipers of this one single person in the course of history. Because that seemingly is what's happened. I'm a pastor's kid. I've grown up in the church. I went and became youth pastor and all that. A really hard, rigorous thing to become a youth pastor when you're the pastor's kid. I get it. Nepotism. Hello. I was a product of that. I admit that. That's why I moved across the country and have, done other things. Nonetheless, it's not a therapy session. We have this story of this individual, and it becomes this idol worship of this one singular incarnation. The problem is that isn't what that one incarnation came to do. When you read through the Gospels that have been in the canon, or even the extra ones that we found in 1945, none of them go around and say, go to church on Sunday with big screens and sing happy birthday to me every week and be happy about it and ask me for anything you want, and I might give it to you if you're a good boy, Nobody has, that is not in anything that we have here. The intention and purpose of this person radically transformed the course of history. That's admitting. I'm not talking down about this incarnation. I'm actually talking up to it, because there's something much more powerful that has happened because of this individual in the course of history that we all now orient virtually everything around it in the West. Everyone is going to be celebrating this time of year, and then in Easter you have this as well. And the point is that it's much more powerful. The gift is so much more powerful if we are able to, as he says in the Gospel of Thomas, have ears to hear it. And to me, the writer of John, this is the last gospel that was written a long time after, and it wasn't necessarily a dude named John that works in the IT department that was just working on things and was like, I should write something down. This is attributed to him, and I won't get nerdy on you on that, but this is the last gospel, and there's a lot of ideas that are influenced by other philosophy of the time. This is a very Greek-influenced document that we have here, and that it's very much more influenced. I've been really interested over the years of exploring, like, what was the spiritual setting like in that area? And you have things more like Neoplatonism, you have Gnosticism that many of us are familiar with, you have the Hermeticism that attributes itself to Hermes, and I thought it was like, something else. I was reading this Hermes book, and Lindsay's like, is that like a story? I'm like, no, it's like a spiritual, like weird psychedelic, I don't know, funky book. You don't think about that when you're thinking about like, Greek writing. And so John, he has this very specific way of talking about Jesus and how he came into this life. It doesn't have to do with endless genealogies from people who come from, their own tradition that they're familiar with in this Hebrew tradition. It has this very much different understanding. That's why it's not synoptic. It's not with the other three. And it's focused on this piece of light. And light becomes very much an important thing in the world and the culture around, but also in this writing here. Because there's something important about the light, and I'll digress a little bit. I understand, it's a little whatever, but this light, this word phos, is about this emanation of the source. It's this revealing of the true nature. This divine mind, the intellect, the nous of God, is being revealed through this light that is coming into the world. And that isn't just something that is to be held as something to be worshipped that is static, but rather it is active, it's living, it's animate, it's moving. There is something that is intimate about it, integral about this element of light that is here, that is pure. And John says in the first chapter here is that where am I at? 9. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. And so it's this true light that comes in that enlightens everybody. I thought this was only for a select few group of people. I thought this was only if you prayed a certain prayer and believed certain things. But this is talking about a different kind of light that enlightens everyone. There is some sort of innate presence within us that's being awakened whenever we are surrendering to something that is in us, this inner light that is within us. And I think that is more so about what this time is talking about in Christmas. It's about noticing the light that has come into the world not 2,000 years ago. I think it was Meister Eckhart who once said, what difference does it make if Christ was born 2,000 years ago if he's not born in my heart today? And the truth is, it's natural for us to not realize that because of much of our conditioning. And I think slowly but surely, as we continue to allow God's presence into our life, we'll see that there is so much more within us than the stories that we have believed, have been told about us. And that in this time of the year, the darkest time of the year, I was supposed to open up today's service with Happy Winter Solstice. It's the 21st. It's the darkest day of the year. So after lunch, the sun's going down, That's how it goes. And there's something symbolic about that, and there's a reason why we celebrate Jesus' birth on the 25th. It got moved. It originally was 21st, because this darkest day of the year, there is a hope that shines through. There's something that is coming into awareness that illuminates something in the darkest part of the year that gives hope that there is actually something ahead of you coming that is not continual darkness in our life. And I don't know about you, but Christmas time can sometimes be a really heavy and difficult and dark time. Not only is it the shortest day of the year, but it can feel that way for many of us. Maybe you have strained relationship with your family. Maybe there are just things that have happened. Maybe loss. Different memories this time brings up. And while it's supposed to be a happy and joyful time, it has the possibility to be a dark time. And we smile and we sing the Christmas carols and we eat the cookies and we play nice to the people that we loathe at the Christmas parties and what have you. But inside there is a darkness that is witnessed. And the beauty of this is that there is an awareness of an inner light that will help us find our way through. And the way to get there is through stillness. And it's interesting that at the winter solstice, whether this is scientific or not, I don't know, you can ask ChatGPT later, but it's probably going to lie to you too, because these large language models, right, are talking to you, my AI friend. That the sun appears to be setting in the same place for 3 days, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And there's a moment of pause. There's a moment of stillness. But that moment of stillness finds itself in the darkest point. I think that's really interesting. Because oftentimes when we find ourselves at the darkest point, we want to move past it the fastest. But there is an invitation to pause in the darkness, to linger there and to go slow, to not wish away all the things we wish we weren't experiencing or having to deal with or navigate. And I think the hope that comes from that, the gift, the true gift of that isn't, gold, frankincense, and myrrh or whatever else you put on your Amazon wish list. Damn you, Jeff Bezos. You make it too easy. The real gift is that there is a sense of lightness that comes when you're able to sit in that place. And it's such a paradox to our world. It's such an oxymoron to sit in that place of heaviness and then ironically feel lighter. And some of you are like, yeah, I've tried this before and it doesn't work very well, And my encouragement to you today is like, yeah, it takes time. It's going to take a lifetime. We're here in the Earth School to go through these moments of friction and tension for refinement and growth and development. And there is no finish line. Actually, there is a finish line. It's called death. Hi, I'm a Scorpio, so we're going to go there a lot. It is that. You'll find it one day. But in this life, it is about learning the ebbs and flows of where there is light and dark. And what you'll find is when you're on the ride long enough, you begin to appreciate those low moments because there's a particular clarity that comes in those times. Every single person that I talk to, and they tell me about their dark night of the soul, sometimes plural, soul, dark nights of the soul, over and over, that happen again and again. And again, when you're on the ride long enough, you realize like they just kind of keep happening, and you just either learn how to surf or you don't. And so as you ride these waves, you come back with a deeper understanding each time, a deeper awareness about purpose, about place, about divinity, about the faithfulness of God that shows up in the ways that you maybe didn't want to. And maybe for some of you, you've been asking God to intervene in your life in particular ways, and you're very frustrated because life is not panning out in the ways that you've been petitioning for. And we come to the end of another year, and it's not what you expected. And my invitation to you today is to free yourself from the burden and the heaviness of those expectations. To live in a way that feels light, to be guided by light, because maybe there's something here that we're overlooking. Maybe there's something that is so obvious that I can't see it. I just don't have the awareness for it. So this darkest time of the year is the invitation to have a realization from the light within you. That only comes through stillness and sitting with that darkness for a little bit of time. So, Merry Christmas. Joyful time. But as we close today, I do just want to invite you into that heart posture, into that space. And that it is a beautiful time if we include that too. If we don't try to just exclude all the difficult parts. If we include the hard parts too, it becomes a really beautiful time to be able to experience life. And we're not going to see family this year, so we kind of got it easy. But, as Ram Dass once said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a couple weeks with your parents. So for those of you that are going to see family, good luck. We'll see you next year. Tell me how it went. No, they're great. It's being recorded. I always have to remember that. Love you, Mom and Dad. But yeah, in the heavy, dark time, invite you to a sense of lightness and a sense of light from within to be able to guide you during this time. So what's most important is that we invite that presence to go with us, to be in us, to allow it to lead us and guide us as we go. So I invite you to stand with me as we pray this morning. And I would argue that this is probably, next to the sound healing, probably the most important thing, because what difference does it make if some dude gets up here and talks to you about a bunch of random things and books from 100 and 2,000 years ago or whatever, if it doesn't actually make a difference and you don't actually sense something real? The beauty of the light is that it's here right now. So I invite you to, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes as we pray, and even to hold out your hand as if you're receiving a gift. Because we acknowledge that the presence of awareness is a gift. And even now, we just take this moment of stillness to posture our hearts to receive that light, to receive the presence of God. God, we ask that your presence would saturate the way we think about life, the way we feel through life. That your presence would be not just an idea or a concept or a list of doctrines and dogmas, but rather it would be the felt reality of goodness leading us step by step through this life. That you would help us to trust our instincts and our intuitions. That you would enable us to have self-control and awareness for things that we need to be doing, that we need to refrain from, that you would truly lead us one step at a time on the path of life. And for those that are experiencing a sense of heaviness or darkness around this time of year, God, we just ask for you, the comforter, to come and to bring comfort in this heavy time. We ask that even in uncertainty, insecurity, and in doubt, and all of the things that we wrestle with in this human condition and experience, that you would help us to get a sense of feeling carried through it all. That we would receive that feeling of provision in our being. Thank you for stillness and presence. Help us to be the light of the world as we realize that light within us. Once a light is lit, it's not put under a desk. It's set on top to bring illumination for all. Help us to be that light for ourselves and for those around us. So be it. Amen. Well, friends, as we close today, I encourage you to see someone, people are coming in, you made awkward eye contact with somebody, that's your sign. Say what's up, hello. Say hello to someone, and we'll see you here in a couple nights for the Christmas Eve service. Have a wonderful Sunday, friends.